So we might make this a little shorter just because of the dinner and stuff. But we got quite a bit to cover. And I think, I don't know. I didn't get the chance to really order these. But I think the biggest news, here's the thing.
Well, because we were just talking about going out on Thanksgiving. You want to talk about the Cousins Walk? The Walk of Shame?
What?
The Cousins Walk.
You want to go right into that one? Oh. Yeah. The Walk of Shame. This year's Thanksgiving.
The holiday tradition. Getting high before the turkey comes out. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, so you can fit as much in as you can. Okay.
Now they're calling it Green Wednesday because it's the second busiest day for cannabis sales, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving.
When's number one?
April 20th, which is, they called it Pot Celebration Day 420.
Oh, yeah, 420. Yeah.
I don't know what that is. I guess how long they've had or how many days they've had it. I don't know. But it's,
I don't know where 420 comes from.
I don't know either. 400 days it's been, could it be that it's been legal? I don't know.
Yeah.
But even the snack companies, I mean, they are pernicious, the snack companies. Even they're getting in on it. So they're even putting it in their ads, like Jif Peanut Butter and Taco Bell, referencing the Cousins Walk or the walk after the walk before the turkey. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah. So I was curious. I know I've always heard of 420. The term 420 originated in 1971 with a group of 5 San Rafael High School students in California known as the Waldos, who used it as code for meeting to smoke cannabis after school at 4:20 p.m. The number became a popular reference to the activity after the group's story was publicized in the High Times magazine. That's funny. Man.
All right, so Pot Celebration Day 420. It's
always been. I've known about it for years, but I never knew why it was called 420.
I don't either. And then it's April. Now we know on April 20th. That's when they celebrate it. But having said that, it's become a regular thing. I've never heard of it.
The only reason I can think of is because of the munchies, right? That those potheads get. I shouldn't say marijuana smokers get, where they get really hungry and they just eat.
Well, this is before the turkey even comes out. So I guess your point they wanted to, but they're sort of making it like a jokingly how to get through the holiday with some of your relatives. And it's definitely a lot easier when you come back in and you're a little bit high and people don't annoy you as much. And I do agree with this. Kind of equates it to people who sit there and drink.
Yeah, it's fair.
The turkey comes out. It's just, I mean, the debate, when you look at the comments, people at the end, the debate was more like, it's not that innocent. It's not that harmful. You need to stop doing it, blah, blah, blah. But so is drinking. And
well, I think the difference is for most smokers, it probably mellows them out. Whereas the guy that's drinking at Thanksgiving is going to be throwing around politics and racial slurs. So
there's a lot of moms in the kitchen throwing back the red wine.
While yeah.
Day.
I've seen my mother with the eggnog on Thanksgiving. Pre-Christmas.
That's just non-alcoholic. Wink, wink.
But have you changed your tune on marijuana? Or do you still think it's pointless? And I think it's pointless, but I
guess you have to.
So do you care about the? Yeah, I think
medicinal stuff. I think has potential. I'm not against that, but marijuana, like smoking marijuana, I think it's not as. I think it's a lot stronger.
Yeah,
than it used to be. I think it leads to different, more issues for people. Go ahead.
Yeah, hold on. I just want to raise your volume real fast, but I think that my tune on it has, I wouldn't say, if anything, it's changed the opposite in the sense of, I think vaping kind of proved that anything in your lungs is probably not good, whether it's marijuana or not. I also think that one of the biggest advocates for marijuana smoking is Joe Rogan, which I think he doesn't even smoke anymore. I think he stopped doing that. But I think the problem is guys like Rogan, when they talk about it, they talk about all the accomplishments that people have done on marijuana, or musicians, comedians, whatever. But then I go, hey, Joe, most kids don't have that kind of drive anymore. I've never, I knew a lot of potheads in college and they all were F students. You had that one kid that was a straight A student that smoked every day, but for the most part, most of them were bums. And I'm not against it, but I think it's kind of killed the drive of my generation. I think it's a big factor and a big problem. But to your point, when we see the CBD stuff and the, I know nowadays even THC is becoming more prominent in these drugs. So, or yeah, I should in the medical industry, I should say, because they are linking a lot of THC, so the actual part that gets you high. They link to a lot of like almost like cortisone shots in the sense of it doesn't heal anything but makes you feel better and you're not taking a shot.
Right.
So
Right.
I think there are benefits, but I think the way that kids are doing it, and I mean, smoking anything, I think is a bad idea. Anything in your lungs.
Right. And I think it's one thing to use it to medicate, right? Any drug is negative if you don't need it. You're learning you shouldn't really add even too much Advil can cause liver problems or Tylenol. One or the
Yeah,
other.
true.
You don't need it if you overdo it. And the reality, the science behind it, I'm the first one to say, well, people drink and people smoke. What difference does it make if they're smoking marijuana or smoking a cigarette?
Right.
You're right. Smoking's bad no matter what. Usually, and it's not true. People make the correlation that, well, when you smoke a pack a day, that's different than one, joint every 2 weeks or on
well,
weekend.
I would agree that
to-
marijuana definitely is not as bad as tobacco. Like tobacco in your lungs is terrible, but I would still think anything other than air in your lungs is probably not good.
Well, it compromises you in
Yeah.
some way.
Yeah.
And then add to it this misconception that, oh, it's just like having a glass of wine. Well, now we know the current levels of the THC that they're putting in this are dangerous. It's not like the old days. It's not mellow. They are stronger. And even, the street crap now is probably not that great because now you can get it at the dispensaries all over. So you're getting garbage out on the street. You just get better.
Yeah. And now with fentanyl and all that stuff, like to get something not legal, like through legal means, just seems like a bad idea. Which
it's gonna be cheap.
Yeah.
It's gonna be
I'll
cheap.
never forget when I was right. I'm gonna do a name drop here that I'll have to edit out. But do you remember in high school? Do you remember that name?
Yeah.
And his brother. He was a big smoker.
Weren't they in
Oratory.
our church? But didn't they go to our church?
No, you're thinking of no, I know who you're thinking of.
Because I saw the parents. Was it the Farrells? No.
No, Andrew. You're thinking Andrew.
They had the older sister.
I can't think of his last name.
The mother's
Good
in the
kid.
church. She worked for the parish and something. But
he
go
said
ahead.
something to me when I was like, this had to be freshman or sophomore year, where he's like, yeah, I love smoking weed, but my lung capacity is like halved. And I was like, you probably should stop doing that then, right? I don't know how much those kids were smoking back then. And, the kids would act cool. So it's like, oh, I smoke every day. When in reality, they were doing it like once a month or whatever. And that's when I was like, that doesn't seem like a good idea.
Yeah.
So
I always go back to with so many of these things. It's not the problem, it's the symptom. So kids that turn to that, well, why are they doing it? For social reasons. It's like you take up smoking, like in the 40s and 50s and 60s, kids would smoke because of the cool thing to do, right? Yeah. They did it because they wanted to belong. So they had an insecurity where they couldn't just do it on their own merits. They needed a reason, something in their hand to socialize, right? Yeah. Or to be part of that group. Going forward with marijuana, like in your years, it was the thing to do. But, now they're trying to push it as, well, it's not that big a deal.
I would also say from the difference between my generation and your generation is it's not to fit in. It's just because there's nothing else to do. Right. And that's what I was kind of saying about the drive and whatever. They don't have anything to fill that gap. So they go to smoking. I'd even put it up there with like, when I'm gonna use women as an example because they're the ones I hear this the most from. What do you like to do with your free time? I just sit and watch Netflix. It's like, okay, you're just killing time, right? Like you're not really, I don't want to say advancing, but doing something worthwhile. And I don't mean that in like a derogatory, negative way, but it's like you could do more with that. Like how many shows can you watch? Well, I kind of not equating the two. Yeah, I shouldn't. Let me rephrase that.
In the context of a person's life, you like to sit for hours in game. Well, that could be the equivalent to
something. Yeah, but I turned it into a job. Netflix. So I wouldn't. It's tough because I get what you mean, but I
won't use you as an example. But many people like to game as an alternative. Other people want to watch movies. There's different ways that people want to entertain themselves. If that's all they do all day, I got an issue with that.
Like if it's work and then just Netflix, it's like, Okay. I just, the more I get to know my generation and the more friends I
Yeah.
make, I'm like, man, you guys don't really do much. I thought I was boring, but they're like, oh, I just go
Well,
home after work. They go
and they
decompress. And I'm
wonder
like, what do
why
you?
they're depressed.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point
People may
too.
not admit that, and then you wonder why they like to smoke marijuana
Yeah.
on the weekends or at night or whatever, or, they drink. They go out
Yeah.
they drink, but they don't drink
Let me put
socially,
it
they
this
drink
way.
too
This
much.
might be a better way of putting it. If you're a movie buff and that's your thing, obviously Netflix is the best thing ever. That's perfect for you. But if you're just watching Netflix to fill a void, or doing marijuana to fill a void, or to play video games to fill a void without like
Mhm.
doing something that progresses you forward, to me, that's what separates, I don't want to say the strong from the weak, but do you see what I'm saying? I just feel
Well,
like there should be, if you're
and
decompressing from work, sure.
right,
Right.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Some people give 110% at work, they wanna come home and they don't wanna think, they just wanna put a
exactly.
stupid show on, right?
Problem
Okay.
is, when was the last time you met someone that was doing 110% at their job? Like,
Well,
again, and I'm
my
not,
son
what'd you say?
my sons, plural,
Sure, but we're
they work very hard.
anomalies.
There are a lot of young people, and there are a lot of older people who work very hard. But I
Yeah.
think, and I don't want to stigmatize young people because I'm saying it even in a bigger picture. You're right, what you're saying, Chris. But society is now making it conducive for it. Oh,
Yeah.
marijuana's fine. Go home, light up, because it's a business now, right? Watch
I
Netflix
remember.
all day. Sit and watch a movie all day. For
Yeah.
us, my generation, you had to go to the movies, and it was only in certain hours. You watched the TV show; it wasn't on 24/7. You watched it that half hour. If you missed it, you're shit out of luck. You're not gonna see it.
I
So
remember.
we
Good.
had to fill our time with other stuff, but also you all have been programmed. Big issue, right? To not necessarily socialize on a level
Right.
that you need as human beings to socialize, and because of that, I think they're turning to things like drinking, like eating, like smoking. And by the way, as a side issue, many people, especially your age, younger, not so much mine because it came after us, start their childhood. We talked about this recently. At 7 years old, they're on brain altering medications through school,
Right.
which leads to 2 more, 3 more, 4 more. By the time they're teenagers, they're taking 8 um, mentally altering drugs to the point where marijuana is nothing. It
Yeah.
really is nothing compared
Well,
to some of the stuff
that's
they're
like,
on.
yeah, I just think of it as, I think the delusion of some people, because I remember, I don't know why this just came to mind, but I remember freshman year, there was a kid at the end of the hall that would smoke a lot, and he would have all of his friends over. And at the time, I walked in and I
I
was
hope this
like,
is college and not high school. And you're
yeah,
talking
college. Yeah, no,
there's a kid
college.
at the end of the hall.
Yeah,
I know.
college. Everyone, right? Because I was talking about even back then. So this had to be almost 10 years ago, maybe more. No, couldn't be 10. Well, let's say I was class of 24. Yeah, I
You're
guess it
older
would be
too,
10.
Chris. You're
Yeah,
getting old. Okay,
yeah,
welcome to
really,
the
a
world. You're getting
decade
old.
ago, freshman year, and
Goes
I walked
fast.
in and I was like, this had to be end of freshman year, I'd say, and all these guys were smoking. And I was like, hey, what is the point of this? In the sense of, I wasn't looking down on them, but I was like, don't you guys have stuff to do? And basically got to the point where we were talking about grades, and they go, well, Zach's a straight A student, and I was like, yeah, but what about you guys? And they were like, well, Zach's a straight A student. I was like, hey, guys. So there's anomalies, but when people like Rogan, who again I admire a lot, say, oh, well, all these guys who smoke do these great things, like think of Chris Farley, who obviously had more issues than marijuana, but he was a genius. It's like, yeah, but that's one use case or case study versus the thousands of kids. Well, I like out of all the kids I knew, there was maybe 1 or 2 that smoked that did well in school. The rest were all bums.
Well, I think somebody like Chris Farley had the genius in him, the comedic genius in him, but he was inhibited, or the drugs brought it out in him.
Yeah.
It took away his inhibitions, which is true of a lot of people. It's like people who have a drink when they go to a party.
Yeah.
It loosens them up. It takes away their inhibitions. Point is that I think Chris Farley was probably very talented without that, but something in his life made him insecure, like, or
Yeah.
didn't gave him that inhibition where
I would
he
guess
needed
trauma.
something to bring it
I
out.
think trauma was
Right.
probably one of
It
them.
could be a trauma
Yeah.
could do it, but to Rogan's point, trauma didn't necessarily bring it out. Trauma was what made it inhibited,
Right.
and the drugs allowed him to bring it out. A lot of John Belushi was the same way. A lot of
Tennyson,
people
yeah.
out there, right? I think, as we said the other day, I think there's a lot of entertainers
y-
who have some edge to them where it helps them to have some sort of
Well, I know, like,
substance or
I
whatever.
also think
Not
that there's
all, but
some guys out there, like, take Elon Musk, who it's probably great for him to calm his mind. I don't know if he smokes or not, but in fact, I think the last time he smoked, oh, he did the ketamine therapy, but I think the last time he smoked was on Rogan, and Tesla stock went down the shitter. Remember that? But I think I also don't agree with when people say, "Oh, you can't get addicted to marijuana." You know that one? I know kids that are
oh
definitely
yeah, I've
addicted.
heard that.
Like, that's
Yeah,
a
I've
dumb
heard that
argument
one.
when people are like, "Well, scientists say you can't get addicted." It's like, okay, well, hold on. I know people who it's become their entire life. So maybe they can't get addicted, but they're so not filling a void that it's the only thing they know how to do. And I would
Right,
say
and
that
I
that's
think
somewhat of an
there's
addiction.
degrees of addiction in the sense that I could go to a party, I can drink, I don't become an alcoholic,
Yeah,
right? But if I go out every night and I have to drink, after a while,
yeah,
you discover sometimes it's social dependency, like you have to have a drink in your hand when you go
yeah,
out. And that's a form of alcoholism, but it's not the drunk who can't hold a job, who can't, function in relationships and whatnot. There's probably that. Honestly, some people, and I do think there's a chemical reason or some
right.
genetic reason, some people are more prone to becoming addicted to things than others. We've seen that.
Yeah,
That's true of, a person could have marijuana when they were a kid, they could smoke a joint when they're
sure.
young, never want it again, never care. You're not going to automatically
Yeah.
get
Or they
addicted.
do it every now and then, and it's like, okay. But I
Right.
remember I was having a conversation with someone at the Y recently. This was within the last 2 years when I left. And she said, oh, I don't even smoke that much. And I was like, okay, how much is not a lot to you? And she goes, 4 times a week. And I was like, that's a
Yeah.
problem.
Right.
So it's
Right.
relative. And I would argue if you're doing it that much, you are probably on the lines of addiction. Maybe not genetic addiction, which I think we now know that genetics plays a huge factor in
Yeah.
addiction. So I think,
But the question is,
yeah,
so if somebody like that or anybody, why? Why do you
yeah,
smoke it? Well,
I
it
like it.
relaxes
Yeah,
me. It puts me in a good mood. It takes my stress away. All right. So again, it's a treatment of something underlying.
right.
You're stressed. You're this. You're that. Maybe it's perfectly normal way. Like I said, some people it's a glass of wine. Some people they can do marijuana. I just don't know yet if I'm still at the point where I'll equate the two things, but I'm not so sure a glass of wine is as damaging as or even 4
Yeah.
glasses of wine in a week versus 4 joints in a week or
You know, I
4
was
hits
thinking
in a.
about this the other day. I know, I mean, we know a lot of very successful people, luckily. I know more that are alcoholics than any that smoke marijuana. It's very strange. I
Mhm.
was just thinking that the other day. I was like, man, I know some that definitely probably fall into and I can't say one is better than the other, but I know a lot of fundamentally successful people by every metric who they might be on the scale of like 6 drinks a day, but
Yeah.
doing well. Whereas people who smoke, like, I don't know a single person who smokes who's doing better than well. I don't know if that's,
Well, I
I
mean,
don't
you
know
may
how
not
to,
know enough people, and I'm sure a lot of people cross over into they may drink, but they may
yeah.
do other stuff
Yeah.
too. But hey, some of our greatest writers were alcoholics.
True.
Like
Yeah.
American writers were alcoholics and they
Well,
got
take
through it.
journalists with the cigarettes and stuff too. So back when they were getting those buzzes, I mean, coffee and cigarettes. So
Right.
yeah, I guess to your point, it depends on how you use it. I don't know. The more I'm not, I don't want to say I'm against it, but I just still don't. Even to this day, I don't see the point unless it's for medical reasons.
Well, yes, but that's what I'm saying for some of these individuals that are doing it, hey, for fun, I just do it for fun or whatever. I think technically they are doing it for medical reasons. They just don't realize it. Like I said, I'm stressed and I need it. I'm this, I'm that. Okay. I mean, you're turning to a substance to help you with your stress. It's a minor tweak, but it's still a tweak. Some people take, depressants, antidepressants. Maybe that's overkill. They don't need that much either. It's just one of these things where to me, it's always a symptom, not a cause. And are you really treating something? I saw was I think an ex-Marine was giving an interview and he had severe PTSD. And in the course of the conversation, it wasn't about that. He mentioned doing the ayahuasca, I guess it's called. I don't know if I
Ayahuasca.
pronounced that right. Ayahuasca, thank you. And how it helped him tremendously. Not what he said, like, Aaron Rodgers, well, I got to do it once in a while and I have to have that escape, whatever. He said it like, it really treated my PTSD.
Yeah.
That worked for him. Hey, I'm all for that. And they
Right.
should do more research into that rather than saying it's bad, don't do it. THC helps somebody like
Yeah.
that. And it's not as damaging as other
I do.
medications to mask
The
things.
only thing that I will give marijuana is we still do not have any cases where marijuana has actually killed anyone or done any damage. Now, you could make the
Oh,
case
okay,
of,
I'll disagree with that.
well, if you're getting high and you get into a car accident, that's not really the same thing. But I don't believe there has ever been a case where marijuana has killed someone.
Well, I would push back on that a little bit because it was. And I know we've talked about this before. I think it's Alex Berenstein, but I'm not sure. Was very. He's a prolific poster on with COVID and a lot of other stuff. But he used to work for the Times, or he was a writer of the Times, whatever. His wife was a psychologist in the prison system,
Mm-hmm.
and he wrote an article basically saying about, I grew up in the generation of, like you're saying, kids smoke pot, wasn't a big deal. His wife was seeing case after case of all these criminals, violent crime, right? Case after case, they started with, I started with the marijuana and then I went and I got my heroin. So it
Right.
was
So
always the beginning. Not even like,
yeah.
oh, I had a habit and it got worse. It was literally that day. Or some people, and this is becoming very common. We're not hearing a lot about it because everyone wants to legalize marijuana. A lot of people doing a lot of crazy ass stuff these days, right?
Yeah.
Out of the blue, blowing up on an airplane or blowing up in the weirdest situations, stabbing somebody, not even remembering they did it. And then slowly we come to find out, well, that morning they did a hit of marijuana and then they were just doing it, going to work, whatever.
I think
Next
we'd have
thing
to
you know,
check
they
that
were
one.
stabbing
I would be very surprised if that was marijuana they were doing.
No, I'm telling you that's why I say it needs more investigation, because I think people are kidding themselves that depending on the grade of what you're smoking, what you're getting, what you're doing, it's very, very dangerous stuff. And I don't know if they want to track it so much. I just found it interesting that an individual in the court system who keeps shaking her head, somebody I would have expected to be far more liberal about it, saying people have to open their eyes to this. There is a correlation between people who start out with marijuana and go on to something heavier.
Right. But what I'm saying is, okay, so here we go. There's never been an overdose from marijuana. Cannabis toxicity is widely considered negligible, extremely rare. No record label, no recorded fatal dose from toxicity alone. Most experts and health organizations, include the National Institute on Drug Abuse, the NIDA, say there are no records instance of death from an overdose of cannabis alone. So, kind of to your point, is it the gateway drug? Then you can make the argument, but that's neither here nor there. But
well, and more recently, though, right. I don't know that I'm not saying it was a gateway drug 20 years ago when it was a different marijuana. I am saying, and this was the point that this individual was making, this article must have been at least
how much it's changed.
Yeah. How much it's changed, and it's not innocent stuff anymore, and it's leading to a lot more violent crimes for these people.
Right.
And sometimes I shake my head when I hear the weird-ass stuff going on in society right now. Like, what is going on here? Not every time, but oftentimes it's, somebody who has drug addiction, whatever, and it's not necessarily hard-ass fentanyl or something like that.
Right. So, all right, let me switch it up because we're going to go through. How about new drugs on popular spice has powerful anti-obesity effects? I'm going to take a guess what it is. I didn't read the article. A spice that has, I'm going to say cinnamon.
No.
Damn it. Oregano.
Beginning with a C. No.
Cumin.
Cumin, yeah.
Is it really? Yeah, sweet.
Yeah. After the turkey, get the black cumin. Black cumin is both an antioxidant and anti-inflammatory. It may interact with the pathways that are involved in fat cells formation and lipid storage. Ding, 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 ding.
You're going to see me at the end of Thanksgiving after my meal just hucking down cumin. Ma, give me...
Mine's the cumin up your nose, right? Everyone else is taking their turkey walk. Hold on.
You with a handful of cumin.
So they're testing 5 grams per day for 8 weeks. It can reduce the triglycerides, the LDL, the cholesterol, but it also sends the good stuff, the HDL, up, which is good. But they think it might be able to prevent obesity because of how it interacts in the formation of the fat cells.
Does it have to be, like, I have to assume that the crap we get off the shelves probably is not the same as straight cumin.
Well, it's black cumin is what they're referencing. I assume they're all like that.
I don't know. I thought cumin was like brown.
Well, I just picked up some turmeric.
Turmeric, yeah.
Turmeric. For my thing, but it's mixed with the black cumin. Black pepper and cumin, I think. And wow, it's got a nasty flavor. It's gummies.
Yeah, cumin's tough. I think that's more of a spice, like a legit spice trying to make something hotter. I don't think cumin's like
orange, blah, blah.
Yeah, like, orange, yeah.
Well, I'm taking them as orange gummies. So
you're taking them as like a medication?
Well, no, I take it like a supplement. No, like
Supplement,
with my
yeah.
vitamins because it's supposed to be good for your joint health and everything. Little
Really?
did I know it's going to help me lose weight and lower all my cholesterol and everything. But having said that, I was just like, oh, this stuff tastes terrible. So it
Well, let
does
me
have a
tell
little
you,
kick to
the more I see on trisepatide, the new
it.
peptide.
Yeah.
Trisepatide is that weight loss drug, but like it's a
Right.
peptide, not a drug that affects your glucose levels. Um,
Okay.
Mom, that might be the family Christmas tree. Everyone getting some shots of trisepatide.
We often joke here about it. How many more pills or supplements could I take in the course of the day? You have me on creatine. You have me
Oh, are
on
you taking
Dirt.
creatine?
No, but you keep
You
pushing.
should. Creatine's great for you.
I, I know.
Most
Now they say that they're
studied,
doing all these supplements, these gummies.
yeah,
I'm like, oh,
most studied. Nah, go straight. Most studied substance of all time, creatine. There's more case studies on creatine than any other substance. I was like,
yeah,
whoa. So creatine monohydrate is what you want.
yeah. I just remember
Start snorting it.
Mrs. Kinsey saying when I asked a long time ago because you guys were taking, she says it's not going to hurt you. She said, but you just got to be really careful with your
Yeah,
kidneys in your liver. I believe
you
she
got to
said.
drink a lot of water on it. And I think I've been a little low on the water.
Not only that, I think you have to be careful how much you take of it. I think
Yeah.
people might be
Well,
overdosing
I
on
saw a
it.
study on you're supposed to, the general rule is 5 grams, 10 won't hurt you. As long as you drink, technically no grammage, I just made that up, grammage is ever going to affect you until you're not drinking enough water, right? Because
Okay.
it's going to dehydrate you essentially, sort of, kind of. But I saw a research study that if you take 20 grams of creatine, it actually reverses the effects of sleep loss. So I was like, whoa,
1 grams?
20
Wow, that
grams,
seems
which
like
is a
a lot.
lot. It is,
Yeah.
but you don't do it all the time. You just do it once, and then your body's okay with that. It's when you're constantly doing, like if you did 20 grams every day for a month, you'd probably have some problems.
You freebase it when you cook
Yeah.
it in the spoon. And
Yeah. You're fine. Why are you lighting the creatine in the kitchen? So I told you when Grandma was here, when Grandma visited me once with Jordan, I showed her my thing of creatine. Creatine is just a white powder. Like it looks. I was like, Grandma, it's cocaine. She goes, I
Oh,
know.
geez.
I was like, what do you mean, Grandma? I was like, I forget how she put it. This was probably
Gets
like a year
around.
ago.
She
She
gets
was like, I
around.
remember that. And I was like, what?
Oh, jeez.
She was making a joke. But
Yeah.
Grandma, she goes, I had a great, I'm editing the cooking show. I have
Yeah.
a great edit in there of Grandma coming in, and I put like a Dark Souls boss music with the health bar. Because it's hilarious how she walks in the background like no one's there. I'll show you the edit after this. But
Drifting in,
yeah,
drifting
as
out.
she's going through my cell phone thinking it was hers, that's when I told you. She's like, what are these memes? Are you anti-Semitic? I was like, Grandma, it's just a meme that comes up on Instagram. Like,
Yeah.
geez.
Doesn't
So,
understand that, which I don't blame her.
yeah. So, well, that's pretty cool. I'm going to start downing cumin. What else could we
Well,
get
it's
into?
got to be black cumin.
Black cumin, yeah. Scientists.
Yeah.
We'll get to those ones later. I think we should get right into politics because we had a big week in politics. This one's going to be a quick one, but obviously, Trump did, hopefully, the $1 trillion deal with Saudi Arabia. Bin Solomon, yeah. So MSB.
Yeah.
No, MBS, geez. I don't know if you watched any of the. I was actually watching it on Fox when I was doing my cardio, but I was thinking, I was like, man, $1 trillion. Would that be the most a president has ever done?
No, he was doing deals with other countries too, to the tune of $1 trillion here, $1 trillion there. I
Really?
think Japan was going to invest that
$1
amount.
trillion. Wow.
Something early on. What was it? Not India, but one of the early countries was talking about investing $1 trillion in the United States. Yeah.
But I was just thinking, I was like, man, between the wars that he's ended, and it seems like the Israel-Palestine war is sort of towards the tail end, and it sounds like we have a deal going. The Ukraine war is starting to flare up again because Zelensky's acting a little weird, apparently, which I didn't grab an article for this. But
Well, the president wants an answer from him by Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
Or the U.S. is out. We don't care anymore.
Yeah,
We're done.
we haven't heard of the Ukraine
Get us
war.
out. Yeah.
We don't even really hear about the Israel-Palestine war anymore, but that's here and there. But I was thinking, between everything he's done, he was up for a Nobel Peace Prize, another $1 trillion deal that started as a $600 billion deal that moved up to $1 trillion. I think you can fundamentally say at this point that he will be, whether you like him or not, the most objectively successful president we've ever had. Right? I can't see
Yeah, I
why they
mean,
wouldn't
from
win
an
that award.
economic standpoint,
Yeah.
yes, which is what we needed and what he
Yeah.
said he was going
I
to
think
do.
China just did a big deal with us too after the whole, when he met with Xi Jinping recently. I think they did a
Yes,
huge deal
they would
too.
do an investment
So
also. Yeah.
I think now you could, again, if you hate the guy, sure. But from a fundamental standpoint, objectively, I think he's done the most by like a financial metric than any other president ever, and even a peace president. Maybe
Yeah,
Lincoln
I
with
mean,
the
I
slaves.
can't,
I don't know.
well, I can't say that because I didn't analyze every presidency from the time in DC,
Right.
from Washington on. Everything's relative. $1 trillion to the Saudis is not as much.
Okay, ready?
They're
I'm gonna get a little crazy
a very
here. I'm gonna get a little
wealthy
crazy here.
country.
Ready?
Yeah.
If you were to, if let's say Mount Rushmore fell tomorrow, and you
hmm
had to put 4 new faces on there, who would you put in there, or would you keep it the same?
I would definitely keep the originals
Okay,
on
so
there.
sure.
Um,
If you were
but
to put a 5th,
well, I mean, as of right now, a Trump is in the running.
yeah,
You know, because he's doing in this term, he's doing a lot of great things. His first
yeah, it
term,
was a little rough.
eh, eh,
Yeah, there
in
was a
terms
lot
of
of promises he
somebody
did
who
make.
was supporting his policies. I just think in general, if you're going to look at the totality of all presidents, how do you gauge whether one is good, bad, or indifferent in terms of what they're able to do? Because just as many people could say to you, Chris, we don't want Saudi investments, or he's not helping the country. It's all going to tank. Maybe they're just being negative, whatever. They didn't vote for him,
But
so
it's
they don't
possible.
really
That's true.
care.
Yeah,
But you have to me, it always looks as you got to look at it kind of in the totality of what did the person say they were going to do? Are they doing it? Because obviously they were voted in, assuming you have a fair election, they voted in to do that. And are they sticking to what they were going to do? Right. Which is why, as we've spoken in the past, so many people were up in arms over the Epstein stuff. He said he was going to do it. He didn't do it. You're right. That's a sore spot to me. If a politician says they're going to do something, right?
sure.
Obama now is taking a lot of heat. He said he was going to help fix the economy and he was going to take care of healthcare. Yeah, he did something. He said he was going to do it. It turned out to be a lot of things he said that didn't happen. The exact opposite.
Right,
You keep your doctor. Never happened. And people even said then it's not going to happen. So he kind of misled people.
right.
And now it's all falling apart. So do you say that that was a good presidency when his signature achievement was a
Failed.
disaster?
Yeah,
Like when I look at George W. Bush and I say, as a president, he was, he was but it's hard to judge somebody who gets attacked, whose country gets
yeah, that's
attacked
true.
in the middle of your presidency. Now I have to judge him based on his response to that,
Yeah, and
right?
then you have Trump with COVID. COVID was kind
Right,
of the big stain for him. So
right.
yeah, I don't. I
And you
think
don't necessarily agree with him. Like I don't agree with a lot of stuff Trump did with COVID. I think that was a disaster for him. Same thing with Bush. I think initially he did a lot of great things right after the attack, pulled the country together. Whether you supported him or not, you have to
right,
support the president at that time. He did what he thought was best because he's no other track record, right? This didn't happen literally that way to any other president. Maybe they say FDR with Pearl Harbor, but that
right,
was military people. These were okay. So, but then you can take it out a little bit. Now you can see the disaster of some of the policies as a result of that we're all living with now. So, that's how you have to kind of take it in totality if you're going to judge who's a great president and who isn't.
right,
I just saw today, okay, this is just giving an example. A lot of people are talking now about the individuals, the Democrats, who were saying seditious things, telling the military, you don't have to follow the commander in chief's
which is
orders.
crazy.
Okay. Right. So a lot of political people, mainly on the right, talkers were saying, giving examples of, Abraham Lincoln hanged somebody who burned an American flag. He hanged another. I mean, they charged him with sedition, put on trial, and they hanged him. You were executed in those days if you did that. Is that a good precedent? I mean, that was allowed back then. Not everybody loved Lincoln at the time when he was in office,
Right,
but he did it. And he's not the type of person that, from what I've read of Lincoln, that would be that hard ass, but that was the society you lived in. Imagine if somebody even suggested or hinted at that now.
oh
I
yeah,
just
you'd
can't say that.
you'd
Can't
be
even say that.
yeah.
And
Huh.
what these people did in my mind is worse. What they're doing is worse.
Yeah.
And they're openly doing, they're not even hiding it.
It's a
You
civil
know,
war, but without, or yeah, civil war, but without like a war. It's
well,
like
it's
a
seditious. You
proxy.
you
Yeah.
don't do that. You can talk around things, but to come out and brazenly say something like that, either party. I mean, it's and that just shows you the difference between presidencies,
Yeah.
how it was handled in the 1800s versus how you handle it now. You can't even think about
But
doing that
also,
now.
we would be naive to say that our politics are not completely divided. Like I do think that I do feel like we're in like a civil war, proxy war, where
You don't
no
think it
one's.
wasn't divided with Lincoln?
Well, what I'm saying is, well, it got divided to a civil war, right?
Exactly.
But what I'm saying is, I feel like we are kind of somewhat in a civil war, but without weapons. I don't know if that makes
Well,
sense.
we've had this discussion. I would agree with you, but I just have a different take on it. I think the government is very crafty, and then those individuals are making me believe that I'm warring with my neighbor.
Right.
I'm really not. We're both on the same page. We don't like what our government's doing. They don't happen to like this president. I didn't happen to like the last one. But in general, I don't even think it's about the president anymore, whoever's in office. It's just the way we're being treated by our government is
I was
wrong.
watching the Y Files. The guy that does those amazing conspiracy videos on
Yes.
that show.
I heard about him.
He had one that he was talking about what some guy who worked for, I believe it's the FBI or the CIA, made a list of what a psyop is, like how to make a successful psyop. And he actually goes through the whole scale of like what's considered a psyop. You'd be amazed how many things hit that scale when you actually know what the scale is, and you go,
Yeah.
"Oh man, then no wonder we turn against each other." There's so many false narratives. Like he talked about one that you would probably remember. I don't remember it now, but it was one
Oh.
that took place kind of towards the end of like the 80s, 90s. But basically, the whole thing was a psyop and proven. Like they said that this lady, she was owned by. Basically, she was crying about what was going on to the kids in her country. She comes over, does a whole speech about um, like why you need to save our country. And it turns out she worked for our government and convinced people to go fight over there or send troops over there for something. I'll send you the
Yeah.
video. It'll make sense to you. But then when you know the scale, like there's so many things that we've talked about, like COVID, that was a complete psyop. Like how things are
Right.
said. Well, you see every news media, no matter what it is, Fox, CNN, MSNBC, whatever, all say the
Mhm.
same thing word for word.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So that those kind of things you go, oh. And nowadays you just can't get away with that stuff. So anyway, I'm gonna
Well,
keep moving forward.
you could when they were, stopping people from saying things on social media,
Right.
right? That's how
Yeah,
you
that's a
stop
big
it,
one.
but
Yeah.
and that's how you these psyops, they don't gain ground when somebody can be out there, right, we have free speech to
Right.
say, "Hey, wait a minute, that's not true." Well, they shut those people down, so
Right.
anyhow.
Speaking of the Epstein files, they voted. I know we talked about last week of
My
will they do
favorite
it?
topic.
Yeah, I know. I'm so sick of talking about this, but every time we say we're done talking about it, some huge information comes out. I don't remember if we talked about it last week, but as of yesterday or sometime this week, Trump said, let's just release the files. So we have this back and forth of we thought he didn't want to release it. Now all of a sudden, and Marjorie Taylor Greene wanted to release it. And then Trump says, okay, let's release it. And I guess the question that everyone's asking is, are we going to get this? And what version of this are we going to get? Is this going to be a heavily redacted uh, piece of information? And also, we're seeing a lot of the emails now. Half of them true, half aren't. So one is Bannon. I don't know if you saw this one, and I'm surprised Bannon
Yeah.
didn't talk about it, where Bannon apparently was emailing him about back when he was working for Trump under his cabinet. Uh, Elon was talking about a party that was still going on, but Elon says that's fake. But who knows? Maybe it's real. So what do you think? Is this to me? And again, I apologize if we talked about this last week and I just don't remember. But is this just a I'm tired of hearing about it, so just release the files by Trump, or is this a it might actually be worth doing?
Well, here's a couple observations about Trump
I'm
regarding
just gonna get
this.
some
They are
water.
trying so hard, like we said last week, to pin anything under the sun. This isn't even about Epstein anymore. The only reason why they're releasing it is because, or they've been screaming about it because they didn't think he would. And they're just trying with any piece of information possible to link this to the current president. And last week we even talked about it. it's becoming so obvious that that's their only purpose here. If you really want to get after the individuals that committed crimes, you can release the information, but it doesn't matter if you're not going to go after these people. They can't get Clinton and either Clinton to get in for a subpoena to talk about it.
True.
And before you even get to Trump, let's say he was involved many years later. I don't think he was, but whatever. You got a past president you could really hang out to dry. Well, no, we don't want him. That's not what this was about. Oh, I thought it was about getting to the truth here. I thought it was about the victims, okay? That's what I'm saying. They're struggling to make this connection with the current president when you got very easy line, and now we're seeing all these individuals coming out, okay? And what is it? The irony of it, it's a lot of Democrats. Yes, there are a lot of conservative
when you see how much
Right.
see how much Epstein gave money to Democrats,
Right.
gives you some questions. Actually, Aunt Susan told me that. And I was thinking, I wonder if it's because, right, here's a question, though. I'm going to be cynical here. I wonder if he was giving the Democrats money because he couldn't get a lot of them to that island. So it's kind of like, hey, I'll get on your good side by giving you money. Like, I think there's going to be a surprising amount of Republicans or conservatives on there as well.
Oh, sure. But judges,
Yeah.
okay? Political leaders in other countries, I'm sure of it. But the pattern we're seeing of this individual, I'm learning more about him than I ever really wanted to, frankly, is that he had some real issues, this guy. He had to have information on Trump. When Trump didn't want anything to do with him anymore, that motivated him to find out
It
more.
kind of makes you know that, or like really suspect that he was working for someone or with someone in this. Because I don't think one guy did this alone.
No, this individual had his hands in every academia, every major university, every administration, foreign. He's got reporters calling him for advice. We learned this one nobody was texting him.
But how do you get to that point? Right, and what I mean by that is
you start with a couple individuals and you get them in complicated situations.
Sure.
And then it goes from there. We know he had a relationship of some sort with President Clinton, who was a 2-term president. Through that relationship, you can meet a lot of prominent people.
Yeah, true.
And as we're all learning every day, how many days in a row do you see another mayor with child another senator, and they're state people, not necessarily federal, all around this country? It is so disgustingly pervasive. You think that's hard? It's that hard to get some of these political people.
But I think the question that we still have not figured out yet is, how does a teacher, a guy who is I think it was like not even a business professor, I think it was like a math teacher, all of a sudden becomes a multi-billionaire? Like, we've still never like put 2 and 2 together and figured out how Jeffrey made all of his money.
You're talking about Epstein?
Yeah, he was a math teacher, and then just all of a sudden becomes a billionaire. Like, something had to do. Someone had to put him there.
The political people through history were not geniuses. Many of them the most influential people. It's just through that dirt on other people. That's politics. It's disgusting and it's sad, but that's how they get to these prominent positions. And this individual who was a sicko to begin with, not just sick when it came to underage girls, but used that to try and give himself some sort of power. And he did. He leveraged it quite a bit. Or now we're seeing, and I'm back to what I'm saying about the current president. The guy's not stupid. He knew if there was garbage there about him, he wouldn't let this stuff out. He never would have mentioned the campaign trail. Is his name connected? Yes. Thousands of times, yes. But as some liberal was writing, I think it was the article you sent me, one of the lines in there was very telling. Most of it is Epstein trying to get a relationship with Trump.
Yeah.
That's how this guy was, and using anything he could. Now, hold on, let me just finish. Now you get back to Marjorie Taylor Greene. You and I talked about this after the podcast because we didn't know it. He came out, said all these nasty things about her. She got mad. How dare he say this? Now she's leaving, right? She quit from her position. What she left out of her tirade about the president, how he turned on her, was a little bit of information that he said to her, and he didn't release because he didn't want to embarrass her. She wasn't going to win running for governor. She's 20 points behind already. He was telling her the facts of life. You're not going to become a senator. She didn't like that. Maybe he's wrong. I don't know. But that part of it, people leave that out, making him look like an idiot. Mamdani just recently visited the White House. We didn't talk about, you didn't have that article, but I don't want to go into it because whatever. There's a reality there. He talked very nicely and favorably, just like a president should. Congratulations, you won. He's smart enough to know. One of two things are going to happen in New York City. Either this man is going to lie and act like he's successful, which will be exposed, or the whole city's going to crash and burn. If that happened, they would have pinned it on Trump. He was negative from the start. Blah, blah, blah. So there's certain things that, and you could judge a president if they should be on Mount Rushmore, if they're smart enough when the negative stuff comes. How do you ride that wave and how do you come across? So all I'm saying with the Epstein stuff, and I've been saying this all along, and I do agree with the current president, he's not involved that much, or we would have known it by now, that it's worth taking away from all the accomplishments you said
The Democrats
before.
would have pushed it out, I think. The Democrats would have, when Biden was in and Trump was running, they would have thrown it out there. Like, that's not even a question at this point.
And who's getting burned? Democrats are getting burned right now more than Republicans.
But
How
I think
stupid was that?
but here's the problem, and I think as a conservative and Republican, I think that this is what everyone's going to ask is like, hold on, you said that the Epstein files existed. Then you have Kash Patel saying, oh, there's no files or there's nothing there. Then you have Pam Bondi saying, hey, we have all these hours of footage that, like 100 hours of footage or whatever, to put out. And we're doing a press release for everything. Then you have Kash Patel doubling down saying there's no files, right? And now Trump's saying, after he said, no, I don't want them released, now all of a sudden we're going, okay, let's release the files. Like, that to me is very telling about there's stuff on there that we as the people should not see, right? And Mike Johnson, who's very anti-releasing these files, I do think he brings up somewhat of a good point in the sense of, because I think there was only one guy that voted to not release the files, which you don't want to be that guy. But Mike Johnson, I do agree with redacted information. I think people think that you're just going to get a list of names. The redacted file is going to have how we do certain things in interrogation and what we do behind the scenes. And I think for security reasons, I do agree. I can see why that would be bad if it gets out. But I still think that you could have avoided all of this if you just gave us the list at the beginning. So that's why I kind of have the feeling of, okay, we're at this point, you just got to release it all. I don't want anything redacted. Well, anything redacted is just going to raise more red flags.
That's fine, but now let me give you another scenario, which I think was the overarching theme from the beginning. Put it all out there. Nothing's going to happen.
Sure. All the more reason.
No, the opposite. You're just highlighting exactly what Trump's base has been, and now I think some Democrats too, to be honest, have been complaining about for over 10 years now. Nothing happens to these people.
Sure.
I think from Trump's perspective, why bother? Why release it? Nothing's going to happen. Or now I'm going to release it. And now it's even worse for him. You know why? Because we've already seen damning things that Democrats have done. And they've gone on news shows, talk shows. Have you heard about one person being arrested about any of it?
No. No. But I don't think that's the point. Like, I think people know that these people aren't going to be arrested for what they did.
Oh, no, I disagree. I wanted those files out there, like I said months ago. I want to know who the criminals are that went after these children. Name and shame and prosecute if you can't prosecute them. But now it's worse for me. Now I'm seeing people blatantly texting this guy from a seat in Congress. Nothing's going to happen to her.
Right. But
a person who voted to have these files released, by the way.
I think we have to see the files. Because if the files just say who's on the island and it doesn't have any damning evidence, and I mean like photo evidence of things going down, then I don't know. I just don't think
a lot of the evidence, and you don't remember this, but a lot of the evidence when they stormed his townhouse back when he was prosecuted, FBI went in, there were tapes, there were binders, there were all these things. Somebody went back and they're gone.
Yeah.
We don't know where they are.
And remember that guy, that Israeli guy was there. What's his name? I think he's like the vice president of Israel. For some reason, he was in, I forget his name.
Oh.
Yeah, came in the mask and everyone was like, hey, that's clearly.
Back in 2008 or whenever it was.
No, I'm talking recently. I'm sorry. I guess I'm talking about
I'm talking years ago when they first stormed it with a famous picture of Bill Clinton was exposed with him in the blue dress from Monica Lewinsky, the portrait over Epstein's wall. Okay. They went in and they stormed his place. They needed the evidence. He was being indicted. All the stuff we found out was found. They went back to get it. Oh, it's all gone. What do you mean it's all gone? Oh, somebody must have come in and taken it.
Oh,
so
I
there's
didn't know that.
All this evidence that we're probably never even going to say, probably the most damning, the stuff that we all care about. A list of names, guess what? We're seeing these names now. And they did stuff that was probably not the best. But nobody cares because it's not Trump. Doesn't
Right.
matter. It's not Trump. Okay, so even for me now, I'm like, why are we wasting our time here? We know Bondi's not going to prosecute. We know the FBI is not going to go after these people.
Right.
If it doesn't have Trump's name on it, the Democrats are going to push for it. And it's all damning. A lot of them right now we're already seeing. They're all like, oh, sorry, I did it. Okay, move on.
Move on. Yeah, and
Which
I
is
do
worse
think
for
that's
me.
going to be. I do agree that's exactly what I think is going to happen. Like, I don't think anything's going to come of this from a court case perspective,
Right.
but I do think we're going to get a list of names of people that should be shamed for what they did, even if you can't. Because I also think that most of the names are going to be Hollywood. I think it's going to be because we know DiCaprio's been there. We know Robert Downey Jr.'s been there based on the list that we saw. That was the rough one, not redacted. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll have to
It's
see.
worse for us. It's worse for the president's base when nothing gets done. And I have my issues with the Department of Justice and the Attorney General now. I feel like everywhere I turn, I see sedition. I see people, doing crimes. I see mortgage fraud. I see all this stuff in my face every day in the mail, in the media, and nothing's happening here. It's going so slowly that we're really just riding it out till the
Right.
next term. And so to me, that's worse than any president in office or anything going on. I just comment after comment when you read them at the end of these articles is people saying, so what? Nothing ever happens.
Right. Yeah. So we'll have to see when those get released. Scientists have finally
Or
figured out
even if
why.
it's worth it. Yeah, even if it's worth it, whatever it is. It's going to be like a giant, oh, well.
Yeah,
Oh,
basically.
well. Yeah.
Scientists have finally figured out why bee colonies overthrow their queens. I didn't even know they did that.
It's my science article.
Disturbing.
Don't get sick, queen bee. There's a common viral infection that causes the queen bee's ovaries to shrink. So her ability to lay eggs decreases, and the pheromone that she gives off to maintain loyalty decreases. So all this process, that's what keeps the workers bee coming. She gives off like a pheromone. They have to feed her. They have to give her what
Oh,
she
really?
needs. So she lays most eggs. That's where the workers choose a replacement. It's called the supersedure. It's causes delays and problems for beekeepers. So while the worker bees have said, all right, we got to get rid of her. She's not producing like she used to. We got to get a new one. There's a downtime. They don't produce as much honey.
Right.
They're not as active. And that is a problem for the farmers because that's, they need the bees working and producing the honey. There's also a problem with the varroa mites. They spread the infection. So they need to keep these mites down. It's fascinating. I don't know much about the colonies, and for people who study it, that's their business. They need all these worker bees coming, and that queen bee. They even do like they have a blue mark in there or a blue circle.
Yeah,
to identify
they hit them with a little marker. Yeah,
yeah,
I've seen that before.
Like, okay,
but I didn't realize that a queen bee it's 8,500 eggs a day. Or sorry,
yeah.
God, no, I mixed two numbers. 850 to 3,200 per day. That's crazy.
Yeah, you got to feed her, man. Got to keep her happy. Keep the queen bee happy.
Interesting. Number one, Superman.
Honey has a lot of medicinal properties too.
Yeah, you gotta get real honey though. You can't use.
Yeah, well, that's.
Yeah, you can't use honey that we get at stores. You have to get it from like real honey that's unprocessed is good for you. Honey from
there's people who have allergies. You want to get local honey.
Yeah,
because that's the pollen from the local stuff that would trigger you, and that's how you fight it.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Superman number one breaks the record for most valuable comic ever after selling $9 million at auction.
$9 million. Imagine that. It was in pristine condition. It was graded a near perfect 9.0. Three brothers in California, they found it in their mother's stuff. It has pivotal first appearance characters in it. And a lot of the items in the story, the items that are part of the story, they kind of shape the storyline of Superman.
Yeah.
So I think it's the very first one.
Yeah, it's number one. Wow.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing. I mean, it was in great condition. Apparently she had a bunch of them up there. I think she died, or she said, just go through them. She's very elderly. And they start going through and like, wow, this is in good condition. I think the last one that sold was also Superman, but that was maybe 6 million.
Yeah, back in 2024. 19 first appearances. Wow. God,
Imagine that.
we should have collected comic books. God damn it. Don't you have anything
You guys
for
need
us?
to take care of them. You
Yeah,
need to take
no.
care of them.
Well, I don't know. We've never. We'll destroy toys, but we never really destroyed books.
How many Pokemon cards did I wash in the laundry that, oh, Mom, it was worth so
Yeah.
much?
Kenny's
That's my fault.
$100,000. Yeah. Kenny had like a
Why did you have it
Blastoise.
in your pocket in school if it was so valuable?
Because he had to
you
show
know?
his friends. I remember those
I
days.
know, right?
Look at this, guys. Back when they were worth
Yeah.
nothing. Kenny had a,
Yeah.
I think it was not a Bulbasaur, a Venusaur that was worth, God knows how much that card was worth, but we're talking at least 5 digits. And yeah, Kenny put it through the wash. Kenny still got it graded, and it was like a 1.
Yeah.
So it was worth like nothing.
I know.
Yeah.
I was just like, Kenny, what do you, and it's my fault, Mom. I love the questions now. Mom, do we still have the Dinosaurus, blah, 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 for the Hydro or the gold ones? I go,
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? I don't know. I don't
What do you
care.
mean you sold it? Well, there was the same with GameCube games. Remember, some of those GameCube games are really expensive. Like Wind Waker, you can sell for like $200 now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's something there's something to be said for not keeping stuff, but keeping stuff in really good condition.
But that's how you get hoarders. But you're gonna have the reverse kind of hoarders where they're hoarding.
Hoarders don't keep it in good condition.
Yeah, I guess the difference between a hoarder who's good at keeping things clean is just called a collector.
Yeah, there's a fine line between a hoarder and Mrs. Greta. She keeps her stuff, she keeps the box, she keeps it nice, neat.
I'm
so
leaving
she
that
can
in the
resell it
podcast.
Yes, yeah, they keep it in good
yeah.
condition, so it's good to go. But yeah, there's something to be said for that, and that's why it's more valuable because it's
Yeah.
Look at how perfect that Superman comic book looked.
Yeah.
It's in great shape.
Little smudge
brilliant
marks. I'm
colors.
not an expert, but I would give that. I think they were a little high on the 9. I would say 8.7.
Well, Ken still asks if if you still have this card, I'm going to get it rated and I'm going to sell it. I have no idea if I have this card.
Johnny
Come
does
over
that.
quickly.
Johnny will send it to the PSA, and it'll be like the shittiest card ever. But he'll just send it to see what it gets graded. It's like 5 cents to do. It's not expensive at all.
No, it can be pricey. But I was
really?
in
I guess it depends on the card.
Manville, and there was a line outside on the street. I go, what is going on over there, right across from where the theater is and all that stuff? I still don't know what it was. Only that at the end of the street, and there were a few other stores, a bakery, and whatnot. At the very end, there was a game store, where they do the cards, and a big Pokemon sign outside. I'm like, what the hell? Oops. What the hell? Is Pokemon now back in style where they're waiting online outside for it?
Yeah, it has been for years. People do that.
Yeah, it kind of went up and down from what I could see. Now all of a sudden it's popular
People will
again.
buy out. People will buy out. They have to limit how many people, like how many cards you can buy per person. That's how bad it's
I
gotten.
guess so. I was like, what did these people do? There must have been some game card competition or something.
Well, you want to know who's really desperate? Did you see what GameStop's doing? You can trade in anything that fits in a 24 by 24 box, like a small box. You can trade staplers, you can trade markers, anything.
Traded for what?
Games,
Money
like
or
store
games?
credit.
Oh, for
yeah.
games?
So you can give them, God knows what they're going to do with it, but you could just give them
that's-
anything.
That's
Like, how bad is
That's the
GameStop
model.
doing that? Yeah. Here's my dead cat. Here's my
garage sale.
taxidermy cat.
Garage sales at the back. Oh my god!
But they said that they'll
Did you
take
hear about
anything
the
within
cat?
that.
Did you see the story? I didn't bring it because
I think I did see it.
The bird that dropped the cat in the windshield
no.
of the car in California. I think it was.
I don't even want to think about that.
It's gruesome. Yeah.
I saw one, unfortunately, not to end this on a negative note, but one of those self-driving cars ran over a cat and killed it, and now people are like boycotting the self-driving vehicles.
Oh, come on.
It's like a Waymo
people
or
run
something
over
like that.
cats every day.
I know.
Come
It's
on.
like it's the
Okay.
Waymo or whatever is the name of the company that does it. The deliveries. So
I mean, I get it when they get all upset because somebody got hit, which is terrible, or if there's an accident.
Right.
But they act like it never happens until we had these type
Right.
of cars. There are people who are, 95 years old driving and they run over stuff all the time. They don't even know it, or young people who are driving into things and don't know what they're doing. So
way to end it on a morbid note.
Yeah, really?
Happy Thanksgiving, guys.
If
If you're gonna run over something, hit a turkey because you can cook it up. So.
Enjoy your cousin's walk.
Yeah, right. Your cousins walked. Did I hit something?
Happy Green Wednesday.
Yeah, as I said. But we'll end it there. Guys, happy Thanksgiving. This is the last one before Thanksgiving. We got to figure out our scheduling because I don't think we'll be able to do a podcast next week because I'm not bringing everything home. So we might just take the 1 week. Hopefully I'll be back after that, but we'll figure it out. We got to see what the schedule entails. But yeah, so.
Hovered around my microphone. The two of us will have our heads in it.
Yeah, but we have to figure out how we would record it because I'm not bringing my. I mean, I could bring my tripod and stuff, but it's not that big.
Nah.
Yeah.
No.
God forbid I take a little break. Yeah.
A little break.
But yeah, so we'll end it there. The only things I have to promote is the podcast from last week. Podcast from last week. Wednesday was an escape simulator, I think it was. Yeah, and then Saturday, yesterday. I did the third speed run for Resident Evil 6. We got one more. So this week, just because I'm not here, Monday's the podcast, cooking show on Wednesday, and then Saturday is the last part of Resident Evil 6, and then we're done with Resident Evil 6, which thank God. And then, I have to then I'll start posting the Resident Evil 7's ones because I already did those. So, yeah, that's about it.
You still have something all week. You just won't have a podcast for next Monday, right?
Yeah, like I'm doing all my recordings today and all my editing today, and then everything's going to be uploaded and scheduled out for the week. And then I'll take the little break that I get, I guess, just because I don't want to do much at home except for like editing. I don't have to record anything at home. So, yeah. Little inside baseball for everyone.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's about it, guys. Social media, promo code Streamlinks, Discord. Happy Thanksgiving, and we will see you guys probably 2 weeks. Laters.